Welcome to the bold analysis. James Orengo has broken his silence in an exclusive video that I want to share with you here on the transformative force that emerged, or rather is emerging, after Raila Odinga exit. And this is coming as the ODM battalion stands in crossroads, while another team is saying, Baba left us in government. They're the ones that are louder. They're the rebel voices who believed that ODM should one day produce a presidential candidate. They're quiet. That is the Sifuna team. And in this video that we want to listen to here, Orengo regrets that the Gen Z movement that was well anchored on issue-based politics was whitewashed. However, the absence of the exit of Odinga would actually usher in that. And if someone is asking the transformative force that would get put on Odinga's shoes, then that is the young people demanding accountability from the government. I had a chit chat with a deputy governor, a former deputy governor from Vigil, who is a good friend of this channel. Not Vigil, but one of the western counties. And he was actually saying that, do you know, Odinga transition happened last year. The young people that emerged and raised their voices against regime, they came out and told Odinga, Baba, go and rest. Let's do it. Baba, let's leave it for us to do it. So he reminded me of that, and he said that indeed that transformative voice emerged. Listen to Orengo.
The crisis that this Raila legacy will have is whether we'll have a determination of the trajectory of the country. Because I regret that on the question of political power, with all those struggles, although we have won on the democratic front, have a great constitution, have a very sensitized citizenry. You know, Kenya now, you cannot do things the way you want. People, are conscious of their rights. But I think the big question, the national question, will be whether we have left the country in the hands of a progressive movement or Moism, and all Kanu politics are back. And I think I see this as the crisis that we are facing. Now, to demonstrate that crisis is that the regret I have about the Gen Z's movement is that it was not allowed to continue to its logical conclusion, because it was a movement which was based on issues. In fact, that was a soft underbelly, They had a specific target, and they used issues that were practical. It was about taxation. It was about poverty. It was about corruption. Issues that guided that movement, the Gen Zs, into a national movement in which the young people took part from all over the country. And even those in the political class, you'd find people in different political parties, but their kids joining the Gen Zs movement. Now, when it failed, and I don't think that failure it's forever. I think it's going to rise again. Is that we have now resorted back to ethnic mobilization. People have gone back, you know. If you hear how we talk in the political parties and how politicians are talking, we are back to our backyards. And I think that is what brought the crisis in Kenya when we had a great national movement led by Kenyatta, Jaramogi. And when we lost sight of the goal, we receded to our ethnic enclaves. Now, every day, it is either the Luos, the Luyas, the Murema, or the Kambas, the Kisis. You know, it is a very dangerous place to be. And I think there should be a reawakening, a renaissance, so that our politics are guided by issues. Because we are too many in this nation that we can't be able to mobilize and succeed on ethnic mobilization.
Orengo is not your ordinary politician. And when you take time to read the history, you'll understand that he's one of the firm leaders from Lakeside who could confront Raila and tell Raila, this one is wrong and this one is right. That was James Orengo, the late Otieno Kajwang, Anyang' Nyong'o, the three. Those are his friends from. Leave alone, and sometimes I say, Odinga may not have even gotten presidency. Compounded amongst other factors is the juvenile politicians that were actually around him. You'll understand, juvenile politicians who are short-sighted that were really around him. The fighting spirit is integral. And the voice from Odinga, from Orengo, is one of the prospective voices that will be needed at this critical time. I may just need to remind you, I heard a speech from Kipruto Rapkirwa saying, really amplifying the standpoint of Orengo. It is very necessary and it will be very important at this point. Maybe just to jog your memory, do you know, guys, that Orengo clashed with Raila? They broke ways after the 2002 general election where Orengo vied for presidency. They separate ways and they were enemies until things came up that now they were together. I think there was one day they were in Ugenya for some fundraiser, and the two clashes. By that time, Orengo had lost the MP seat and also lost the presidency. And Raila on the other side had won with Kanu and was the energy minister. And they went for some burial, and not burial, some church fundraiser in Ugunja. And by that time, Orengo was allegedly not invited, but he was to be blocked from going there. And clashes emerged.
That many vehicles came to Uganda. Lorry loads, matatus, buses, And what you have there is a hired audience. Those are not Ugenya people. These are hired people who have been paid little monies to attend. And you can imagine the amount of money that has been spent in ferrying all these people around here.
Nothing to do with anybody else other than President.
Orengo, imondo yiyo kenyinge kan. Orengo kunene odi paro, kunene anyango golo dako moro kambani kujime chogo kuji.
Our own security, party security, can very well cope with any kind of violence out here. But I do not see that this has interfered with this function in any way.
From this, they reconciled and worked together from 2007 until 2025 when Odinga now is gone, with now a very clear structure and hierarchy that Raila was the party leader of Orengo. And Raila is the one who helped Orengo in 2007. In 2007, Orengo was actually losing the Ugenya parliamentary seat against someone called Steve Mwanga. If you guys, Steve Wanga, my mother's classmate. So, and that candidate, Orengo's opponent, had a lot of money. Raila went a day to, by the nominations. And allegedly, Wanga had actually defeated Orengo. The reporters say people around that time, my parents was telling me Orengo's opponent was alikuwa classmate wake. Alimshinda. But Raila insisted Orengo. And that is how they went. So the fighting spirit will come hand at this point. Maybe you guys don't know. Do you remember the bishop who was preaching? Reverend David Kodia, who preached in Nyayo, yule mwenye alikuwa na inject Nyayo. I just got a video here that at some point he was raided by allegedly officers who said they were sent by Farouk.
I'm a public figure, and if at all police is to come to my place, it has to be well channeled. I'm not a criminal that can be arrested without order from court. So I don't understand why they came to my place. And what later I established from members of my family who are there is that they said that they were sent by one Farouk. And I don't understand who is this Farouk. That's what they told my family. When they asked who sent you, that we are sent by Farouk. So I don't know who is this Farouk. I've never met this Farouk, and I don't know how important this Farouk is. I don't understand. Another thing is that when I sent the team there, I alerted the media, because I'm not someone that you can just come and arrest anyhow like that. I alerted even the county government, because they were policemen. But later, the police commandant or Nyanza police boss called me to say that he's not aware of those people. And interestingly, he may not be aware, but they were in uniform and they were captured in uniform. They were there and they had guns. I'm a very small person. You don't even have to carry guns to come for me. You simply send me a note, then I'll appear before any police station. Then when they interrogated my family, they really traumatized me, because they were saying that now they changed the story. That I'm peddling, I don't know what, that I'm engaged in money laundering. Surely it's better to be more intelligent than that and have a better life, even if you want to deal with a person of my stature.
Now, to tell you this is something that even the state understands, and it's giving William Ruto sleepless nights. I am seeing young people around the party. To be specific, I've had a sound from, I've had a sound bite from Kasmuel Makoure, and another one from Raila's sister, hitting back on the Gen Zs, the young voices that are actually emerging now. And I want us to listen to that. If I think it's a mistake that the party is making. If I was them, I would have handed over that party to the young revolutionaries to steer the party. The Sifunas, the Babu, the Calibamis. Those are the people that the most active, the active demographic. If you look at Kenyan population now, people who are politically active at the moment are actually the young people. And the plight for accountability resonates with them. More than, and I'm not saying the other generation is not a bit interested, but it is true that our young people are in the front line. Now, to fashion the party as a modern party, remember, 20 years down the line, to fashion the party as a modern party, it would have been more appropriate at this time if you, with the exit of Odinga, you transition it and hand it over to the revolutionaries. Hand it over to the young people. They still have the energy. They still have the ambition. They're still looking for big things. What is the future of ODM? The ambition of ODM that could be harbored in 81-year-old Oburu Odinga at this time. If Oburu Odinga is party leader, can Oburu Odinga go and say, ODM party is going to present a presidential candidate and I'm going to be the person? People buy those things? No. But if Babu is to announce that ODM party, we are going to use the ODM party for this and that, will that work? Yes. And in fact, if you chase the Babus, you actually don't have a party there. I think the transition is coming. And listening to Kasmuel and the voices, the old guards within ODM, because the party is likely to split into 3 groups. The first group is, if you ask me, is the young people, the Sifunas. They would actually split and probably make their own party. Then there is the old guards. And then there is the status quo people. But at this point, handing it over is the best. Now, 2 things. The president would not want the party to identify with the Gen Zs because they would emotionally coalesce around that and they don't have a party. Number 2, it disintegrates the tribal card that state players will always want to use in elections. So, but if you ask me, that would have been the right thing at the moment. Thank you.